Shall we start, madam?
You can start.
Yeah, sure. So, Shriman, can we start?
Yes, madam. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Good afternoon, madam, and the children over there, students, basically. So, this is a program to educate children regarding the violence against women. And I'm Dr. Sushila. I'm an obstetrician and gynecologist from Vijayawada, that is Andhra Pradesh. So, I would enlighten the first two topics regarding the violence against women. How do we protect, what is violence and all? I shall talk upon it. So I'll be sharing my screen.
Shila madam, we have to play Shanta Madam Studio, right?
Oh, that I don't have, Shriman. Do you have that?
I have with me, madam. I'll play the video.
Sorry. Yeah. We'll just see what our president, that is the president of FOXI, that is Federation of Obstetrics and Gynecology. She's Dr. Shanta Kumari, and she has brought out this program to educate each and every student regarding violence against women. So we shall see her talk, what she's going to tell us. This is a recorded one. So Shriman, can you just play it?
Dear friends, Foxians, and the women of my country, I am Dr. Shanta Kumari, President of the Federation of Obstetrics and Gynecological Societies of India. As a doctor and a woman myself, I have observed very closely how prevalent violence against women is across the strata of our society and the enormous impact it has on the health of our women. My theme for the year as the President FOXI is FOXI for all always, and Dheera, stop violence against women.
Dr. Shanta Kumari, who has relentlessly campaigned for the issues of girl child. I was happy to be the ambassador of FOXI Figure Ox in 2013, and I hope that me being an ambassador has motivated a lot of girls and many families.
Violence against women is a serious human rights violation, leading to injury and sometimes even death. Unfortunately, 1 in 3 women experience some sort of physical and sexual violence during their lifetime. Violence in pregnancy is also widely prevalent, leading to unwanted pregnancies, unsafe abortions, neglected pregnancies with no antenatal care, all these contributing to maternal morbidity and near miss. As obstetricians and gynecologists, we have a great opportunity to assess and support women who experience violence because of the unique opportunity where we get to see them during the pregnancy, during the family planning visits, during their annual checkups, and multiple other times when they come to us. I strongly believe that by eliminating the violence against women, we are not only reaching the SDG goals, but also creates a just and equal society for our women. Until we make men and boys active partners, we can never end the violence against women. In an endeavor to sensitize our own fraternity, my initiative of Dheera was started to eliminate violence against women.
I completely support her vision and mission as President FOXI, and also especially support her campaign, Dheera, Stop Violence Against Women.
It was in 2016 at the launch of Dheera. We brought together the police, the obstetrician gynecologists, the National Commission for Women, the women and men on one single platform to wear orange and say no to violence against women. We organized the public forum and cyclothon to launch Dheera. In 2017 at the FOXI FIGO Congress, we partnered with men and organized the bikeathon and the flash mob. The high point of Dheera was at the International FIGO Congress at Rio, Brazil in 2018. The declaration on no to violence against women was signed with FIGO and WHO. It was here global societies pledged their support to end this violence against women. The Dheera campaign and march at the World Congress of FIGO in Rio in 2018 got wide international publicity. No change is possible unless the young minds adopt it and make it a part of their life. Young minds are open and creative. They accept change. Foxy has always worked with adolescents for their health and well-being. Dheera this year adds a new page. I'm happy to share with you all that we are launching the Dheera online school certification course across the length and breadth of our country in all the schools. Foxy for all always. Dheera, stop violence against women.
So that was our president, Dr. Shantakumari, who has spoken to you. And then I think each one of you must have understood what she said. So we should stop violence against women, and this should start from the teaching should start from the adolescent age, so that at this tender age you will be understanding, and then you will be stopping the violence, and you're going to build a gender neutral society. So I start with my first presentation. So once again, I welcome you all children. So in the next 15 to 20 minutes, I shall talk, followed by the next two speakers. So we are going to tell you what violence against women is, what is about the Dheera project, and then how you should act in case of violence is being done, and what you should do to the society in case you see violence against women. So this Dheera is a project to say no to violence against women, and it is an initiative by Federation of Obstetrics and Gynecologists Society of India along with the UNICEF, and it has been initiated by Dr. Shantakumari. So agenda for this program for today is what is Dheera, what is violence against women, what are the types of the violence, management of violence against women, and peer pressure. So children, you must have registered for this program and you must have done the pre-test. So I request you to do the post-test at the end of the session and also give your valuable feedback. You will be awarded by this by a certificate signed by UNICEF and also the Foxy. So what is Dheera? Dheera means courage, and the power of being together is what we have a Twitter account is hashtag Dheera together. So we have created a Twitter account called hashtag Dheera together. So after the talk, I think every one of you will become courageous, both boys and girls, to say no violence against women, and kindly tweet in our Twitter account. So not all men practice violence against women, but all women live with the threat of male violence every single day. And this is global problem and all over the earth. So this was said by Fraud Alcabaro, and by the end of the talk, I think we should be one of the voice to stop violence against women. So violence against women is a human rights violation act, and then it causes short-term, long-term physical, emotional, psychological, economical consequences. It prevents the woman to fully participate in the society, and the magnitude is immeasurable on the society. And as you all know, because of the pandemic, there was a lot of isolation, lockdowns, reduced mobility, and economical stress also was there. So this led to alarming rise in the domestic violence, that is the household violence also. So children, you must have seen women beaten up, women threatened, scolded at home, school, neighborhood. You must have seen some of these incidents. Do you think that this is right? I don't think anyone would say this is right. It is
Hello, madam.
a act. Yeah.
Madam, I can't see your screen, ma'am.
You're not able to see my screen, huh? Shriman?
Yes, madam.
Oh, 1 second. Shriman, PPT రాట్లేదా?
Yes, madam.
Oh, 1 second. Slides change అవ్వట్లేదా?
Nothing, ma'am. Slides అసలు కనిపించట్లేదు అక్కడ.
అవునా? ఒక్క నిమిషం. Shriman, can you see this now? Shriman?
Yes, madam. Click on this enable editing button, madam, then go to slideshow.
Full screen ainda? Shriman?
Yes, ma'am, it's in full screen now.
Full screen, okay. Anybody from the other end, can you say please whether I can go from the first slide or should I start from the first slide or can I go from?
Go from first slide only, ma'am.
Okay then. So I would like to enlighten on the topic violence against women. This is done by us by a project called Dheera, and Dheera is an initiative by Foxy and the UNICEF. So the agenda for today is what is Dheera, what is WOW, types of violence against women, management of violence against women and peer pressure. Shriman, slides kanpadtunayi kada? Shriman?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So children, you must have all done the registration and the pretest too. Kindly do the post test and give your feedback after the whole of this session. You will be awarded with the certificate by Foxy and signed by the UNICEF. So what is Dheera? Dheera means courage. So we have a Twitter account called #Dheera together, and please do write a good quote or sign in and put your courageous voice in that, and your power is needed to stop this violence against women. So not all men practice violence against women, but all women live with the threat of male violence every single day. And this is a global problem all over the earth. This has been said by Fraud Alcabaro. So by the end of the talk, I think every boy and every girl from your school should know what violence is, and you should stop violence occurring. Even a single day should not be there with violence against women. So it should be, we all should strive to eradicate this problem. So violence against women is a global human rights violation, and then it causes short-term, long-term physical, economical, psychological, and emotional consequences. It prevents full participation of the woman in the society, and the magnitude is immeasurable in the society. So during this pandemic, because of the reduced mobility, isolation, lockdown, and economic constraints, there was alarming increase in violence against women, and basically in the domestic violence, that is the household violence. So children, you must have seen women being beaten up, threatened, scolded at house, at school, and maybe a neighborhood. Children, do you think this is right? I think no one will say yes. This is a most shameful act. And what is this behavior called, and is there any word to describe it? It is called violence against women. And violence against women is the most shameful human right violation, most widespread in the society. It knows no boundaries. It is seen in well-cultured families. It is in well-educated families too. As long as it continues, we cannot see real progress towards equality or a gender-based neutral society or a development in the society or nation and peace. So what exactly is WOW? So violence against women is mental, sexual, physical trauma forcing a woman to live in fear. So the roots of WOW have been deep rooted in our society like this, the roots of the tree. And this has 5 parts to say: toxic masculinity, patriarchal society, gender bias, sexism, and gender stereotyping. So I will talk about these in next few slides. So gender bias is preference of males compared to women or girls to say, and the girls are considered to be burden on the family, and feticide and infanticide we see around in our society, and we also see neglecting female health issues. Children, I think you know what is feticide and infanticide. Feticide is getting aborted because it is a girl child, and infanticide is abandoning a girl child. So you must have read in newspaper or you must have seen in the media, ladies getting aborted because of the family pressure, because it is a girl child, and because it is a 3rd or 4th girl child in the family. Like the child is, the little fetus is abandoned by the family members. So all these things we see in the newspapers and the media. So the second is the patriarchy. Patriarchy is a system or a society wherein the women are largely excluded for decision making, either it is in the society or in the family. This is the thing that the women have no right to take part in family decision. So this is not right at all. And third is the gender stereotyping. So gender stereotyping is like in most of the houses, they think the girls are not, the girls should be faithful, they should be emotional, they should be tolerant, they should be sympathetic and dependent. And boys are like they're competitive, logical, strategic, aggressive, and dependent. Girls do think this is right. I don't think this is right. Even the girls are today, they are the team leaders. They are very competitive. They have reached the most higher positions in every field to say they are quite independent. And boys are also like we can say they're tolerant, sympathetic, affectionate. All this can be for boys also. So there is no, we have to say there is no stereotyping as far as the gender is concerned. Sexism. Sexism is a prejudice, stereotyping, discrimination typically against women based on sex or gender. And toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity is that the male thinks that I'm a man, I'm strong, I don't cry, I can control, I am the boss, I am the savior. But this is not at all true. This we can say it is this is mental ill health, and we should try to stop this. And why doctors of a woman want to talk about WOG? Why are we here to talk about this? Is because the gynecologist at the point of contact. What is all? Somebody is writing nonsense on this screen. Sriman, can you just see who's doing so? This is very bad.
His name is Mr. Udit, madam. His name is Mr. Udit.
Udit, I think he can just leave the this thing. He can log out basically. If he doesn't want to, then he can leave. Madam, please see that who's doing so from your it has been happening. It is very bad, ma'am. If he doesn't if he doesn't want to listen, he can as well log out, ma'am. He cannot just write down and then. This is an educative program. So gynecologists at the point of contact who can recognize the changes in the lifestyle, and because we see women coming during their pregnancy with all these problems like violence against them, and also in most of the cases we do see that the pregnancy, that the woman herself is neglected during her pregnancy and being beaten up during that period also. So why Dheera? Dheera is a campaign which is to stop violence against women. And we have 36,000 plus obstetricians and gynecologists in India. We want to sensitize 5 lakh and above boys and girls from 9th to 12th grade, and also to sensitize 15,000 plus teachers regarding violence against women. And women who have their sons should teach their sons to respect women, and because he is watching you at your household, he is listening. So we have to be very concerned regarding the boys also at house. We have to educate them. They have to have a respect towards women and not to do any violent things against girls. And then it should start basically from the household itself. And we have to be courageous. We have to say no to violence against women, and we have to build voices saying no to violence against women. Our target is 1 lakh plus tweets. Let us tweet together at hashtag Dheera together, and you should be one of the courageous voices to say no against violence, no to violence against women. So do your post-test and also feedback, and you'll be awarded with this certificate. Thank you so much. So I'll continue.
Your student is writing something on the screen, but have you noticed that?
Yeah.
Name is, no, not in the chat box, but on the screen itself. His name is Uday, madam. He's writing all the. He already. I removed it, madam. He's writing all this wrong words and everything. They are doctors, madam. They're not like common people like us, right? UDIT, madam. Udit. Yes, ma'am.
So can I go ahead with the next presentation?
Take the screenshot and send it. I'll send you the later, madam. Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
From the other end, Sriman, can somebody respond? Can I go with the second presentation?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
அந்த காலத்தில் மும்பையில் கிரிக்கெட்டை பிடித்தவங்க நிறைய பேர் அதில் சென்னை போயிடுச்சு கிரிக்கெட் பேஷன் டேலண்ட் பண்ணுச்சு.
Shriman, can you see the screen, Shriman?
Yes, madam. Not, I mean to say it's in slideshow only.
Yeah, yeah. It's still in the slideshow only, huh? No.
Now it's full screen, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. So children, I would like to talk on the types of the war for the next 5 minutes. Please be attentive. So the violence against women may be physical, psychological or combination. So do your post-test and feedback after the session. And physical violence. So this is, I'm going to talk on the acid attack. She is Mrs. Lakshmi. She was attacked by acid by a woman who was 32-year-old. This was in 2005. And this is because she has rejected him. So at the age of 15, she was at 15 years old at that time, and he has attacked with the acid to say basically, and this caused the disfigurement of her face. So I think you must have seen the film called Chepak enacted by Deepika Padukone, and this was regarding Mrs. Lakshmi. And so acid attack is a form of physical violence against women, and it may be for blackmailing also, or they must have, like to say, either it may be an assault or it may be just a blackmailing also. So Mrs. Lakshmi is one of the ambassadors to say no against violence. And what can we do if such thing happens? So we can divide this into two parts: threatening and attempting. So if somebody threatens, so we have to report to the trusted adult and police. Make sure to stay away from the person who's doing so. Travel along with the others, and it is punishable under IPC 326B, not less than 5 years, may extend up to 7 years, and it is finable. So if attack has been taken place, then make sure you get the treatment, talk to the parents, teachers, police and anyone you trust. Make sure you are away from the scene and away from the perpetrator, and report to the police, and it will be booked under section 326A IPC, and this can lead to imprisonment not less than 10 years, may extend to life imprisonment also. It is finable, and the perpetrator has to bear all the medical expenses of the victim. So the second one is honor killing. So murder of an individual, either an outsider or a family member, thinking that they would protect the reputation of the family. So this is not going to bring the repute to the family, but a murder is going to cause a disrepute to the family. So this, I think many of the movies have been regarding the honor killing recently. One of this is the Dhadak, which shows the honor killing. So enacted by Jani Kapoor and Ishan Thakkar. So this is like, that is an honor killing to say. So, and third one is a femicide. It is a gender-based crime, arises when society prefers male over the females. So as it is a woman-based hate crime, we do see infanticides and feticides, as I have explained to you before. Killing of a newborn female child is an infanticide, and getting aborted because it is a girl child is feticide. So children, I think without women, there is nothing like a society. So a newborn girl should be born to have a society for the next generation to come up also. What is sexual assault? Sexual assault is an act in which a man sexually touches a woman or compels her to get naked. So this is punishable, and this causes trauma both mentally and physically to the victim. And if you see such an act, you need to stop it, because again, unless you stop it, again, you may be the victim or your friend may be the victim. So you should have a courage to stop such a abuser. And as we all know regarding the Nirbhaya Act, and also we do know about the Disha Act in Andhra Pradesh. So these two acts prevent the woman against any type of rape and any type of unwanted physical contact. So the last one is the POXO Act. POXO Act is protection of the child against sexual offences. This covers both boys and girls, specifically the minors from sexual abuse. So if you are a survivor, do not shame yourself. You are not at fault, and you are not to be blamed also. So don't take bath because it washes out all the evidences. Don't change your clothes. Write down the consequences of the events, because you need to inform to the police. Report in a timely manner so that there is evidence, and don't be afraid to speak up. If you don't speak up, next time he is going to do the same thing to you or to your friend. So you need to stand up and talk. Next is the psychological violence, financial manipulation. So here this is an example to say Raj monitors the accounts of Ananya. Ananya, though she is earning, all her accounts are being managed by her husband and her in-laws, and she is made financially to be dependent on him. This is called financial manipulation. And emotional abuse. Emotional abuse is undermining a person's sense of self-worth through constant criticism. It may be name calling, it may be damaging her partner's relationship, or it may be like blaming, it may be humiliating words, or causing talking bad about her in public, so that it is embarrassing her, and talking to everybody regarding her dressing, and then making her guilty. All this come under the emotional abuse. Commonly we see when the family, like husband earns less than the woman, so usually they start blaming her. Example is here, like Ashok earns less compared to Shreya, and Shreya is every time being held up, and then Ashok constantly threatens her, saying he is going to divorce her. So this causes mental trauma to Shreya. So what can Shreya do? Shreya can counsel him, and Shreya can tell to her parents, she can tell to her in-laws, she can tell to her close friends to counsel Ashok, or finally she can also complain to police. So bullying, continuous harassment either verbally or physically, and can be in the form of cyberbullying or ragging. So there is one more example where Neil is a senior and Ria is a junior to him, and Ria has rejected, so he feels embarrassed. He starts spreading rumors, he starts following her, pouring water on homework, throwing eggs at her. All this causes mental trauma to Ria. Ria can as well go talk to her teachers, tell the teachers, inform parents, and finally she can take the help of the police. So cyberbullying is online a form of bullying and abuse. This has increased leaps and bounds during the COVID time, when technology is used to write aggressive, embarrassing, hateful messages about the peers in order to intimidate, harass, shame, and control. Maybe it is exclusion, gossip, rapping, harassment, and cyber stalking, and creating fake profiles of the other person. So the females have been tortured more compared to the males in the cyberbullying. So what can we do in such cases? Take your platform, whether it is Instagram, whether it's Snapchat, and get in contact with the customer care representatives. Make sure that you collect some screenshot before you ask the person to block that representative to block your account. File a complaint. So approach the cyber investigative cell. You can report to the cyber cell of any city. If you are in any other city also, you can approach the investigative cell. And if you are unable to report to the cyber cell, you can as well lodge an FIR or reach a women-oriented SHE teams. So stalking, when an individual follows a woman and repeatedly tries to contact her without consent, is called stalking. It can occur digitally also, and it is a punishable act, and the person can be jailed for 1 to 3 years, and it is also finable. So voyeurism is watching and watching and taking pictures of a woman without her consent and without the knowledge of the woman. So this is punishable under section 354 IPC for 1 to 3 years, or in case of more attempts for 3 to 7 years. I think this is also depicted in a film called Drishyam. I think the same is there in Tamil also. So eve teasing. So eve teasing is in the public actually. It is unwanted remarks, sexual advances by a man to insult a woman in the public. It is punishable under section 294 and section 509, and also it is finable. And criminal intimidation is when someone is threatening to cause death, hurt grievously, or destroy your property. So this is also punishable. And sexual harassment is unwelcome sexual advances or requesting for sexual favors, doing sexual remarks or pornography without consent. All these constitute sexual harassment and can be reported under section 554A IPC, which is punishable up to 3 years. So here is an example or a short story to say a farmer like takes loan from the owner, but he is unable to pay the loan. So he sends his daughter to work and then to repay the loan. So at that time, the owner takes some advantage. So this is called this is definitely a part of sexual harassment. So Raghu, the farmer has to go to the police and inform her. In spite, he's like the one who's doing his is his owner and he has to repay. In spite of that, he can go to police, inform. So what is combination of a physical and a psychological violence? So it is called the domestic violence. So it has like it is in the households. It is not only between a couple, but it can be between in-laws also, maybe sister-in-law, brother-in-law, anybody in the house with the women. So the main issue is most victims do not know that it is violence unless it is for few cycles. So because this is because the woman, for the woman, it is very hard to believe that the trusted partner is so manipulative and then he is doing such acts. So we should always remember that love cannot be there in domestic violence at household. And for example, it is like he uses he causes emotional abuse, economic abuse. He starts blaming, intimidation, denying. All this are the examples. And then this is a cycle of abuse. He causes tension to her, like he is going to create tension, saying bad words. Then it reaches the peak. He starts abusing, and then again he apologizes. That is remorse. Returns back like he is like very cool, calm, lovable, and returns to the honeymoon period. Again it goes to tension, explosion, remorse, honeymoon. So this is a cycle of abuse, and usually the women do not understand for 4 or 5 cycles that it is violence. So the Domestic Violence Act has been brought in 2005, covers both physical, sexual, verbal, economic abuse. It grants immediate protection. We should remember that it is like immediate protection and punishes the abuser with imprisonment of 3 years. It is not like other acts where it takes some time to punish him. It is like immediate protection to the woman. So ending violence against women is one step at a time. So this is our first step to cover youth, school children and adolescents. So next step will be the comparatively another pillar of education for another group. So this is our first step, educating you people to at this tender age to stop violence against women, basically to for girls to know what is violence against women, and for boys how you need to treat your treat the women and also the girls who are studying along with you, and do your post test and feedback also, and you will be awarded with this certificate. And let us say no to violence against women. Let us tweet at #Dheera together, and you should be one among the voices to say no against violence. And we are expecting more than 1 lakh voices in our Twitter account. So please do put a nice quote in the Dheera together #Dheera together Twitter account. So thank you so much, children. I think definitely you will be benefited with this educative program. And any questions, like I'll be happy to answer to your questions. So anyone over the other end, madam? So just to give a feedback to us how the program is. And
students, now you can ask your questions. I think we can start with class 12 students. Come forward and please pose your questions, even feedback also.
Ma'am, if there are no questions, we'll go for the next presentation.
Ma'am, I would like to know personally how to identify an abuser. Is there any signs that would help us to identify abuser?
So basically, ma'am, all these things like abuser is usually when like he's following the girl I think trying to talk to her and then proposing her, all this like initial part of it, like they have to understand at this age it is not really the age where they have to follow the boy. They should understand what is going to happen. So that is the time where they should think twice before like really going along with that boy or like sharing their accounts and all these things, ma'am.
One more doubt, ma'am.
Yeah.
Only girls are vulnerable. What about the boys? Are the boys equally vulnerable?
Even the girls are, it is equally so, but in the recent times, we can say it is like 50% boys, 50% girls, and that's why the POXO Act has been brought out. It is a gender neutral act which covers both the boys and girls, especially the minors. So it is to say the violence is against women, but violence is also against the man. But more deep-rooted problem is with the women. In the urban areas, we can say it is quite less compared to the rural areas. But it is so because they are dependent upon the male for their livelihood and all, because the male only earns, and then there is a lot of discrimination we do see in the rural areas where only the boys are being educated, they sent to these schools, and the girls are there, and still the dowry system is going on there. Those are the main things why they go for the infanticide, feticide, all these problems, because they think only the male child is going to take care of them. It is not so really to say. So these things have to really go from our society, go out from our society, should be get eliminated.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you so much. So Shriman, next I think Dr. Saroj or Dr. Nandini, I don't.
Nandini, madam. Ma'am.
Nandini, madam, okay.
Madam, shall I share the screen, ma'am? Madam, you are muted.
Dr. Nandini, can you please go ahead with the third presentation, ma'am?
Good evening, everyone. Please show the slides.
Shriman, I think. Yeah.
Management of violence against women. So till now you have known what is the definition of violence against women, and you know about what are the types of violence against women. I will be talking about management of violence against women. Table of contents, introduction, where you could describe the topic of the section. Second is the role of bystanders, where you could describe the topic of the section. And third is bridging the gender divide. Next slide. So you have done the registration and you have done the pre-test. This is an online certification course. Kindly write the post-test and give your valuable feedback. And after you have given the post-test, you will be given a certificate. What are the factors that contribute to violence against women? So the factors which contribute to violence against women are multiple. And to name few are alcohol, superiority complex, stress, anger issues, lack of compassion, troubled childhood, drugs, social discrimination, and in this gender bias. Gender bias is the main cause or the root cause of violence against women. Next slide. Violence against women is because of a typical mindset, and this mindset is nurtured since childhood and based on the way a child is brought up. If a child is having a very bad and a traumatic childhood, the child will learn some things unconsciously, and when he grows up, it might manifest. Next slide. What to do if you know someone is being harassed? So don't be afraid. Listen to the victim's story. Reassure them to stay brave. Believe their story. If someone is telling you something, listen to and believe their stories. Do not blame the victim. Keep an eye on the situation to make sure it is not getting too dangerous. Ask about their immediate plans. Report to a higher authority. You can report to a higher authority like teachers, parent, police. Respect their decision and have resources to keep conversation going. Be careful that any actions taken do not harm. It should not harm the victim more. So you should be careful about that. What to do if you are being abused? Recognize the toxic behavior of the cycle of abuse. Protect yourself by leaving from the vicinity of the abuser. Avoid escalating situations. Report the incidents. So, mobile, keep it to yourself, but never put it online. Don't send you can take your phone. I'm audible.
Yeah, yeah.
Plan a safety kit in home in a hurry. In a bag, you can keep chili powder. Don't forget to take your phone. Let someone know where you are going. So trust, and you can trust your friend, trust your neighbor, trust your doctor, trust police officer. Next slide. Speak out. Don't let the abuser rob you of your. Believe your words have power. So always believe that your words have power. So whatever has happened, you can call out for help, and you should, if you keep silence, the perpetrator might do the same thing to the others. So you should speak out and build a trust with someone like friend, teacher, and then speak out and explain what happened. Next slide. Don't let down another generation of victims. So if you don't speak and if you are silent, it may so happen that the things might be getting repeated in that place. For believe the victim. Don't forget that once someone commits abuse, they are prone to doing it again and again. So it will be good for the other generation or the coming generation. Otherwise, even the next generation will be a victim. Safety. Download and familiarize yourself with safety apps. Smart Sharer Women Safety Shield Protection. There are so many apps which are available. You Screen Alarm, Suspect Registry, Be Safe, Abhaya for legal advice. Share your live location with those whom you trust. Take pictures of taxi drivers, license plate. In case of emergency, activate location and app. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide.
I've changed the slide, madam.
I can't see. Next slide. Please change the slide.
Madam, you didn't take the slide, madam. Actually, I changed my slide.
Sriman, I think there's some net issue.
Ma'am.
Yeah, distress signal and all have to become. Yeah. This is a distress signal. Tuck your thumb and then open 4 fingers. Close and open your 4 fingers. That is called the distress signal. So this is for to like really when you are in need of the help, you should do this so that you can have like this is a sign where somebody comes and helps you. So this is called the distress signal or the help sign to say. So palm towards the camera and tuck the thumb. And then open your 4 fingers. Close and open your 4 fingers. That is called the distress signal or the help sign. Dr. Nandini? Sriman?
Yes, ma'am.
I think madam there's some like a problem with the net.
Maybe, madam. Share my screen. Just give me a minute, madam. I'm calling, madam.
Yeah. So children, everybody, you should know what is a distress signal or a help sign. So somebody, if they're showing their 4 fingers, like tucking their thumb, opening and closing their 4 fingers, then you have to go nearby and then help them. Or whenever you need, you have to show the distress signal. So if you see the signal, check in with the person's safety and find out what they need and what you can do. If you find a threat or a danger, call the local police and helplines. Mentioned later, we are going to mention those helplines. So, madam, any questions from your students or anything anybody wants to just interact? I think we can have it for 1 or 2 questions and then go ahead with the talk. Meanwhile, Dr. Nandini is going to join.
Madam is going to join again, madam.
Yeah, that's what. Meanwhile, if any questions from the teachers or your students.
I request any staff and the students to please come forward and participate in the discussion, please.
Hello.
Yeah. Dr. Nandini. Madam, go ahead, ma'am. Dr. Nandini. Dr. Nandini. Madam, Dr. Nandini, I think you need to unmute, ma'am. Appropriate action is taken. Shriman?
Yes, madam. I called madam and madam is saying that she is on online and asked her to unmute herself. Madam said okay.
I think again, madam has logged out.
Nandini madam. Sushila ma'am.
Yeah.
Can you please proceed, madam? Because maybe technical issue. I think madam is calling also. We are unable to hear.
Okay, I'll continue with this and yeah. So if you see the distress signal, you need to go near the place and then help the person. And if you find a threat or a danger, call the police and the helplines. Next. Shriman? Yeah. So All India Women's Helpline, Women in Distress number is 1091. Women's Domestic Abuse Helpline 181. So kindly take a screenshot of this so that you can have all these numbers with you. So mainly you should remember 1091 is the helpline Women in Distress and Women's Domestic Abuse Helpline is 181. So find out your local city helpline numbers and share with your groups. So I think the school principal or the school teacher, definitely you should note the helpline number. And then all your students should have so. So in gender-based violence command crime, there is one more number 0800007709, and basically the child line to report child abuse. So last madam has asked if it is for both girls and boys, then they have to call 09000555555 bar 1098 1098, that is 1098. This is very useful number in case of a child abuse. And domestic violence 0800150150. I think these numbers, again you can take a screenshot. It is very difficult to remember so many numbers. So 1098 I think everybody can remember. So this is for child abuse. You can just call the toll-free line number. Next. So they report the incident to the local police or a special police unit, record statement for police within 24 hours, and go to the hospital or a shelter home for medical examination, and it should be done and will be done by a female doctor, and record the statement for the magistrates. and special court shall complete the trial within 1 year. So this is all the reporting process, and then only the justice can be achieved, and the abuser can be punished, and you can put an end to such a person. So act. Next. So let's keep them that way, that these girls are stronger, and you have to, every boy should think the girls are stronger, and let's keep them that way. You cannot say girls are not strong, girls are like they should be emotional. All those gender stereotyping should like go away, and we should say that girls are strong. We should build a gender neutral society. Next. So do your post test and feedback and get the certificate from Foxy and UNICEF. So be a courageous voice, and then tweet at hashtag Dheera together and say no to violence against women.
Nice presentation, madam.
Then thank you. I had to continue on because children also, I think they were getting distracted. So Nandini madam, go ahead with the next presentation. I was just like covering that part.
Thank you very much.
Next
Srimati,
is topic, ma'am. Saroj madam.
Shriman, next PPT for Madam Nandini Madam. Shriman, are you there? Shriman?
Madam, 2 minutes, madam.
Hello. So the next is, I think, role of active bystanders, and I'll be taking it. Let me start sharing my screen.
Okay, ma'am. Okay. I thought it was, yeah. You can start, ma'am.
Yeah, can you see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am. Make it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Make it full screen, Dr. Saroj.
Yeah. Slideshow. Yeah, can you see the full screen now? And am I clearly audible?
Yes, ma'am. You are audible.
Yeah. So I'm Dr. Saroj Agarwal, and I'm a gynecologist based in Ludhiana, Punjab. And this Dheera project is very close to our hearts because it addresses the women's problems, and we really want to sensitize the children from class 9 to class 12, because these are the children who are going to be the future of tomorrow, and they should really understand whenever they are in trouble or anything like that, and the crimes may be committed against girls and boys both. So let's talk about the role of active bystanders. As you know, you have already registered. That is why you have given the pre-test. That is why you are here. And then after the PPTs are completed, then you are supposed to give the post-test and the feedback. Only then you will be eligible for the certificate. So children, who is the bystander? An individual who observes an act of violence, discrimination, or other problematic behavior, but are not its direct perpetrator.
Dr. Saroj, the slides are not moving. It's not full screen also. Can you just make it full screen and
it was
this is first slide.
Madam, click on this enable editing, madam. There is an enable editing button on the screen, right?
Sachin, can you help me?
Ma'am, there is enable editing on the just above the Dheera logo. Just above the Dheera logo on the yellow line.
Enable editing.
It's above the Dheera logo.
Yeah, but
just click on that and then go to the full screen mode.
I just can't see enable editing. Sometimes I can see it, but today I cannot see it. You share.
Ma'am, can you make full screen now?
Yeah. Yeah. Is it full screen now? And can you see it now?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Is it okay now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So we start from there only. So who are the active bystanders and who are the passive bystanders? The active ones are who take action and try to stop it. They either stand and speak and act, and who do not act or intervene due to social influence, audience inhibition, fear of retaliation. Because then people think that someone else will come and help, or you are getting late for work, then you think that someone else will help. So the bystanders can be these types. So we have to remember the 5 Ds, which are the weapons of the active bystanders. Certain people rarely like to help, and what are the 5 Ds for them? Number 1 is distract. It is a subtle and safe way to intervene. The aim is to interrupt and derail the incident. Pretend to be lost. Ask for the time or address of a place. कुछ भी और जाके पूछना शुरू करो so that the person is distracted. Pretend you know the person being harassed. Talk something irrelevant and take the attention of the harasser. Then delay. Second D is delay. Delaying can reduce the severity. Ask the victim if she's okay. Offer to accompany her to her destination or sit with her for a while because the person is really mentally disturbed. And then third is delegate. Delegation is when you ask for assistance for a resource or for help from a third party. If you're near a shop, ask the shopkeeper. If on a bus, ask a co-passenger bus conductor to intervene. If you are in school, contact teacher for help. Sometimes the help can come from some unexpected source. So you just talk to a person and somebody may be very, very helpful. Then document. First, assess the situation. Is anyone helping the person being harassed? If not, use one of other Ds. If someone else is already helping out, assess your own safety. Only if you are safe, then only go ahead and start recording. Always ask the person who was harassed and what they want to do with the recording. So just the recording is not to be shared with anyone. So just ask the person whether he wants that the person who was victimized, ask that person, do you want this recording to be shown to someone? So the person's privacy is really important. Using an image or a footage of a person being victimized without the person's consent may make the person feel even more depressed and can lead to a level of visibility that a person may not want. See, these things are very important. है ना? अगर आपने किसी का कुछ आगे शेयर कर दिया, that person will may have a suicidal tendency even. So do not share further unless that person wants it. Publicizing another person's traumatic experience is no way to be an effective bystander. Then direct. Directly respond to harassment by naming what is happening or confronting the harasser. This can be risky. The harasser may redirect their abuse towards you. It may escalate the situation. Be clear, confident, but cautious. So, golden rule is only intervene if it is safe for you to do so. If not safe, call the police or the child helpline number, that is 1098. Children, this number is to be remembered. And if you do not really remember this, then at least 100 number is always there. Then organize actions like writing stories, posters, and Nukkad Natak. If you know someone, some organization is working for it, donate your time and ideas. Appreciate someone practicing bystander intervention. So the people who are doing good work, they need appreciation. The wrong things to say are first of all, the victim blaming should never be done, never. Why did she go at night? ऐसे सवाल उठते हैं ना, वो लड़कियों के बारे में उठते हैं कि रात को क्यों चली गई? Why did she park her scooter there? Why did she go alone? Why did she call her sister instead of 100? So these kind of questions are just stupid questions. They should never be asked. So the registration and pre-test and post-test and feedback, as has already been told again and again, are all are must. Courageous together, say no to violence against women. Let's Dheera together. Let's tweet together, building a voice. Our target is 1 lakh plus tweets. So add your courageous voice to the conversation. So this conversation, let it keep going. Hello?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Yeah. Yeah. So people can put the questions in the chat box.
Students, kindly put your comments and the questions if you have any in the chat box. And if you want to ask directly, you can unmute and ask. Do you have any question now? Madam, there are 2-3 questions in the chat box.
Asmita and Bhavna, if you don't mind, can you ask your question by unmuting yourself? Bhavna, why don't you unmute and ask your question directly?
Dr. Saroj, please unmute yourself. Yeah, we are not able to hear you. You need to unmute, ma'am. Dr. Saroj? Dr. Saroj? Dr. Saroj? Dr. Saroj? Shriman? Shriman?
Yes, madam.
I think madam needs to unmute herself.
I called madam.
Yeah, hello?
Yeah, yeah. Ma'am, we are able to hear you now. Yeah. You can start now, ma'am, from the first slide, I think.
No, I was about to answer the question. Bhavna had asked the question whether domestic violence affects the kids. Yes, it does. So either the kids they start behaving in the same manner. Suppose if the father is beating the female, then even the male child in the family thinks that it's probably the right thing to do. He also resorts to the same kind of behavior when grown up. So it does affect the kids, and sometimes the children develop an aversion to it, and then they understand when they go out, they learn that this kind of behavior is really not called for, and this is unfair to the females, and then they behave exactly in the opposite manner. But it does affect.
Yeah, even the girl child also it affects.
Yeah. So that was one example. Otherwise, only if the children get that good kind of environment at home, only then they become better citizens in the society.
Both girls and boys.
It stands for both girls and boys.
Yeah, true, ma'am. True.
Yeah. So we go to the next presentation, which is bridging the gender divide. Okay. from beginning.
Ma'am, make it full screen, ma'am.
Yeah, that's I think. Slideshow. Yeah. Is it okay now?
Okay, ma'am, you can continue.
Yeah, yeah. So we are going to talk about bridging the gender divide. Registration and pre-test is must, and post-test and feedback is also equally important. Only then the certificate will be given to the participants. The schools and the teachers, everyone gets a certificate. The school also gets a Dheera champion certificate, whosoever participates in this program. So whom do you identify with these names? When we say these names, Shiva, Kashish, Nihar, Gunjan, Harsha, Nayan, Nirmal, see, it can be the name of a boy or a girl. Genders are nothing but the socially constructed concepts. ये जो gender है हमने अपने convenience के लिए बनाया है. Basically, both the genders are same. So, do these traits characterize males or females? Active. अगर हम किसी एक का नाम लेते हैं ना, one can easily point out what we think in the society. Even I will say the same things what you are going to say. Active, okay, it's a male. Considerate, it's going to be a female. Aggressive, it is going to be a male. Creative, it's going to be a female. Ambitious, competitive, independent, male. Emotional, female. Leader, male. Artistic, female. Mechanical, male. Gentle, female. But do you think that I'm saying the right thing? No. The same traits may be applicable to the male, same traits may be applicable to the female. The female can be equally aggressive. She can also be creative and ambitious. She can also be competitive. And she can also be independent. Whereas the male can be emotional. So like that. So ये traits जो हैं ये हमने ही बनाए हैं. Conditioning of the gender stereotypes. There is a conditioning in the society. The stereotypes are so ingrained in our culture that they become a habitual response. Media and films reward violent male behavior. Parents are also more likely to use physical punishment with the sons than with the daughters. Parents are more likely to tolerate violent behavior in boys than in girls. ये सारी चीजें हम समाज में देखते हैं. When the girls show aggressive opinions or leadership, they are known as bossy rather than responsible. So stereotypical rules restrict the personal choice, foster sexism, and create unequal outcomes. There is a big disadvantage when we really stereotype the things. When we really stereotype the genders, then there is a problem.
Ma'am, I will take the class.
It's okay. So is gender bias a social evil? In Indian society, women are oppressed officially and unofficially. That we see daily. Discrimination starts young. When the girls are expected to do household chores, behave submissively. Emphasized when women are expected to leave work to raise kids. This we see that as soon as the women are, they have to raise the families, they really have to leave their jobs. Male babies are preferred over female babies. Workplace discrimination at work causes the pregnant women to be fired, and a massive wage gap exists between men and women. ध्यान से देखो तो each and everything out of all these exists in the society everywhere. No woman is safe from sexual harassment, such as eve-teasing and catcalling. Women are called goddesses, but even the tiniest of mistakes on their behalf makes them unworthy of being respected. Women do not want to be treated like goddesses. Women want to be treated like humans. तो अभी यहाँ पे जैसे नवदुर्गा की पूजा वाले दिन है, तो ये 9 दिन लोग देवी की पूजा करेंगे, उसके बाद भूल जाएंगे, and they do not even treat the women at their homes nicely. So what do women want? They want to be treated like humans. So this is up to men also, that they should really responsibly behave with the women. So it is not a level playing field. Some countries still do not give women voting rights. So see, these things are really alarming. When you look at the larger picture, some countries, there's no voting right for the women. Women still do not have equal access to education. Child marriages and dowry are prevalent. Women are not given opportunities at work. One man's voice is worth more than that of many women. If many women are really saying something, but then one man's voice is heard more. Women have less access to financial resources. This happens outside in the families, it happens everywhere. And I am a gynecologist, so I must say that when the women come to us in old age, they do not really have bank accounts of their own. And even for their little treatment, they really have to depend on the males. So those may be the husbands, those may be the sons who really do not care for the elderly women, the homes. And that's a very, very bad scenario. There is not enough representation for the women in many fields, including politics and leadership. All the genders have to work together as allies. So children, remember that to create a gender neutral, gender responsive and equal society and to eliminate gender inequality and gender bias, that should be really our motto. The gender-based prejudice is not an issue of one gender. So boys, it is not enough to not commit violence. You must be willing to take 8 active steps to ensure that no other men commit such violence. So you have to take care कि आपके आसपास आपके समाज में भी ऐसी चीजें ना हो. Number 1, share the care. Women take on 3 times more unpaid care and domestic work than men, that we all know. Women spend energy and emotional labor at home with the family instead of advancing career or looking after themselves. So appreciate those who help you unconditionally. So women always are helping men. So kindly appreciate your sisters, your mothers, your wives. Respect the sacrifices being made for you. Offer to help whenever you can. As you can see in this picture, men can also offer help and encourage women to take up their own interests. And hold yourself accountable. Boys will be boys. This is not going to do. The boys will be held accountable. They respect men and women equally. Be aware of your own behavior. Make sure you are open to criticism and change yourself when you see toxicity. सबसे पहले change अपने आप में लानी है. So this is important for the boys. Change notions of traditional masculinity. Examples are when people use these words for men. Man up, don't cry, be strong. Treat everyone the same way regardless of gender. Allow yourself the freedom to break norms and challenge stereotypes. Question those that do not allow you to challenge stereotypes. Do not excuse men just because they are men. Make the sensible male fashionable, not the alpha male. Now this statement is very, very important because आने वाले समय में जो male उल्टा sensitive male है, who listens to everyone's problems equally, he is going to be the fashionable male, not that kind of macho male. Because men can also cry, men also break down, they get anxiety, they have emotions, they feel insecure, men get abused. Men के साथ भी कई बार गलत चीजें हो जाती हैं. Men have mental illnesses. It is not unmanly to struggle. So let's support men too. Let's encourage men. Do not belittle or silence men. Men struggle too. So it is the sensitive men who are going to change the next generation. Respect others' choices. When someone's making you uncomfortable, ask yourself why. Examine your biases. Consider the circumstances that make your life different from others. Do not judge or shame them for their choices. सबकी अलग-अलग choices हैं. No two people are same. So first of all, you have to know yourself and start respecting others. So understand consent. वो बातें होती है ना, हंसी तो फंसी. Clear consent is the word. Yes, nothing else. She was asking for it. Why could not you? Boys will be boys, not acceptable. Never victim blame. Sexism, see it, name it, and stop it. All women experience sexual harassment at least once in their lifetimes. All women experience sexism once a week. Call out such behavior in a safe, respectful manner. Be an active bystander. Do not excuse friends, relatives or co-workers. अगर आपका कोई साथी किसी और फीमेल के साथ misbehave कर रहा है ना? It applies to the girls also. So if you find anyone misbehaving with others, and if you are a friend, do not say कि कोई बात नहीं. You really have to intervene and do not excuse even your friends. Challenging gender stereotypes. Question your own stereotyping and prejudices. हमारे minds में already prejudices हैं. The way I said, कि we can really say कि हाँ, this is male and this is female. So we are already having stereotypes in our minds which has to be taken out. Challenge any stereotypical notions of gender like women are not good at driving. रोज सुनते हैं हम सड़कों पे आगे गाड़ी लेडी चला रही है. So अभी के हम ये देखते हैं कि sometimes women are better drivers than men. Men are rash because they are angry types. So that kind of thing is also seen. It is a skill which can be learned by anyone. Counter the argument with the facts. And believe the survivors. Every time a woman speaks up about her experiences and she is not believed. Toxic culture flourishes. बात कहानी यहीं पे खत्म हो जाती है अगर कोई औरत आके बताती है कि उसके साथ कुछ बुरा हुआ and the other people say we do not believe it, then she will not say anything further. So when you hear a survivor story, listen, believe and support. Be an ally and offer unconditional support. By mistake, the spellings of here are wrong. So HEAR, when you hear a survivor story, listen, believe and support. Be an ally and offer unconditional support. That's very, very important. Now, this slide is again important. When you do the Google search and you find women should, itna hi likhte ho, aage kya aata hai? Women should stay at home, women should not work, women should be seen and not heard. So this is the kind of things people are really searching for. Why? So we have to change this narrative, make a gender neutral society. We know that women can do anything and be anything. So the registration and pre-test is must. And similarly, post-test and feedback is also must to make you eligible for the certificates. So let's be courageous. Let's Dheera together. Let's tweet together. Yeah, thank you. So if there are any questions, children or teachers can ask directly or put in the chat box. Hello. Hello.
Children, please come forward.
Yeah, can everybody hear me if there are any questions?
Yes, ma'am. Shiny, a student has a question, ma'am.
Yeah.
In the chat box.
Okay. How can parents deal with this situation apart from reporting to the policeman? What advice you give to them for comforting the child and hearing them out instead of brushing it off? Yes. Every time, see even the parents do not really like to go to the police for little things. I should not call it a little thing, but sometimes the family is really having the stigmas, the taboos that they really do not want to go to the female. Suppose some kind of eavesdropping has happened and the family really wants to curb it. But that is going to have a mental trauma. Suppose it's a female child who has been who has had an experience of some kind of eavesdropping, but the parents tell her to keep quiet and not go to the police. But then it is the responsibility of the parents to make the child come out of that mental trauma. See, because there is a fine line. We do not exactly say when the crime gets committed. Even the simple eavesdropping is a crime, but when it becomes a bigger crime, you never know. And if the child should always trust the parents at least, and if the child is not very comfortable with the parents, the child can trust his or her doctor, and child can sometimes trust a teacher or somebody elder in the neighborhood. So always speak up. So it is up to the children that they should always speak up whenever there is something bad happening to them. Because if they really look, that is why we are trying to sensitize the younger children, younger generation, because if they find something bad happening, they must point out. And parents also should deal with the situation. Either they should be strong enough to bring it to the notice of the police. And there are cells made for this. There are various kinds of helplines made for this. So the children, if the children cannot do that, even the parents can talk to those helplines and ask for help. And so if you ask only, then the help will come. And this generation who is listening to these kind of presentations now, I think they will form better parents. They will not be scared, so much scared in the society. उनको उतना डर नहीं लगेगा. They will become responsible, more responsible. They will respond to the crime immediately, and they will rather take care of their families in a better way. This is how I really think like. So the problem is really not to be brushed off easily. It has to be tackled. Yeah, anything else? Yeah, otherwise we can go to the next PPT. So who is taking it?
Nandini madam. Madam, shall I share the screen?
Good evening, all, and Happy New Year to you. I am Dr. Nandini. I will be taking decoding peer pressure. Our main highlights are identifying a toxic environment, good versus bad touch, the concept of consent, the power of no, the power to say no. Next slide. You have already done the registration and the pre-test. After the session, kindly write the post-test and give your valuable feedback. You will be getting a certificate after you give your. So what is peer pressure? It can be any influence that peers have on each other to conform to behaviors and personal habits of a group. So most of the time peer pressure is too subtle to identify, but it has a ginormous effects. So you are in a group where you see some behaviors which are common. To confirm means they are similar or they are identical. Next slide. What are the types of peer pressure? It can be spoken, unspoken, direct, indirect, negative, or positive. So what is a spoken peer pressure? When one peers openly pursues another. So they decide and they be in a group. And what is unspoken? When one peer is persuaded by exposure to behaviors. And direct is when one peer has to make an on the spot decision, like they are in a party and there is one group, they all are in a party, but some in that don't smoke and some in that don't drink, but because one person is smoking, he hands over the cigarette to the other, and the other student or the person starts smoking. Similarly, like the example for drinking. So because they are in a group and they go for party and they all start drinking. The other is indirect. When a peer overhears another gossiping and changes behavior due to indirect effect. So gossiping is mainly seen in groups. Negative. When a peer is pressurized into behavior that is against their moral code, like drinking is against their moral code, but they are pressurized to drink. The other one is positive. When a peer is influenced by behavior that is healthy and responsible. In the positive peer pressure, like getting up early and studying, going early to bed, not drinking, not smoking, not drinking and driving, there are some positive, जैसे बोलते हैं ना संगत का असर, means the way the feathers of the same flock together, similar feathers, they flock together. So if there are people who have good uh, uh, behaviors or good habits, so that other uh, student takes it, and because of that the student benefits. Those are the positive attitudes or the positive behaviors. Next slide. Signs of toxic environment. So you should be very intelligent enough to understand what are the signs of toxic environment. Your friends make you feel bad about yourself. Your friends is on your friendship is on their terms. Like you are friendly in a group just because others have already put all the terms. You are never sure where you stand. Gossip is constant about friends. So constantly gossiping about each other. That is not a good behavior. Effort is one-sided. Always you have to compromise and do everything. They don't respect your boundaries. You feel pressure to do things you don't want to. There is a competition to be popular. You are terrified one mistake could make them leave you. Suppose you feel that if you do one mistake, the whole group will tell you to go out and you will lose, and you will not be in the group. They encourage your worst traits. So they know that these things are wrong, but still they tell you, okay, no problem, continue like that only. They will never tell you that these habits are wrong. So please give up your bad habits. And uh, you should be able to recognize these toxic environment. Next slide. How to avoid uncomfortable situations. So avoid going out with strangers. Make sure your parents, siblings are aware of your whereabouts. Always tell that where you are going. Take a phone with you. Respect other people's boundary. Draw boundaries. Be confident to say no to anything you are not comfortable with. Dial the number 100 if you feel there is a sense of danger. Next slide. Learning to differentiate toxic people is the first step to cleansing toxicity for you. See, you are studying, but when you go to school, colleges, there is a very big crowd. So you should understand who are so boys who are against feminism. Can you hear me? Hello? Am I audible?
Now it's audible. Now. Now it's audible.
Boys who are against feminism, boys who are rude to their mothers, boys who don't respect your physical boundaries, boys who pressure you to send nudes, boys who start fights, boys who use slurs like boys who comment on girls' appearance without her asking for a opinion, boys who make rape jokes. So these boys you should avoid, and girls to avoid. Girls who think it's unmanly to cry, girls who hit or slap their boyfriends, girls who are totally materialistic, girls who call other girls bitch, girls who don't respect your physical boundaries. Am I audible?
Yes,
Girls
yes,
who
ma'am.
call you a girl thinking it's an insult. Girls who don't think men can be victim of abuse or rape. Next slide. Learn to put yourself first. Set boundaries you are comfortable with. Boundaries sounds like, I will end this phone call if you continue to shout at me. I need time to think about it. I will come back to you. I can stay for half an hour. I don't respond to work emails at the weekend. Thank you for your offer. Unfortunately, I can't make it. I am not comfortable with that. If you do it again, I will have to leave. I am not comfortable discussing that. Please do not discuss it with me. I respect your opinion, but this is my life, my decision. Next slide. Good touch versus bad touch. This has been already spoken to you in many programs. Peer pressure can make it feel like all touch is acceptable, which is not true. Speak out whenever you feel uncomfortable. You have the power to say no. So in this bad area, the red areas are the bad touches. The yellow are the may not like it. You may not like these areas to be touched, and green are the good touches. Next slide. The concept of consent. Consent is permission for doing anything. Always ask for consent. Do not assume consent. Respect consent. Never coerce consent. You cannot force somebody to give consent. So, no means no. Stop means no. Turning away means no. I don't want to mean no. Shoving you away means no. Leaving me alone means no. Passed out means no. I am not ready means no. Pushing you away means no. I don't feel like it means no. Drunk or drugged means no. Get away from me means no. Screaming means no. Don't means no. Crying means no. So these, you should be very clear about what is the concept of consent. Next slide. Stand up to peer pressure. Don't say when you want to say no. Freely given consent where both persons' needs, wants, and desires are an integral part of the interaction. So remember to always listen to your gut instincts. So whenever you should understand that whenever you want to say no, then you say no. Leave the scene and say, see you later. Make up an excuse like, I just remembered I have to do something, talk to, be at such place or such place, and gotta go. Use rumors like, if my parents found out, they would lock me in my room for the next 30 years and I am forced to be eating broccoli. Change the subject like, oh, hey, I almost forgot to tell you about such, and make excuse and leave. Suggest a better idea like, let's go check out instead. So you should always, whenever you are in a situation, you should always uh, uh, understand what your gut instinct is telling you. Remember to always listen to your gut instinct. Next slide. For a better future, for our future generation. So we are talking about all these sessions we are taking. Till now, we have taken 6 topics. 3 gynecologists have taken 6 topics. This is all to sensitize you. So to have a better future for the next generation. So next generation should not suffer. You are never too young to respect a woman. These are the words of Malala, who said, next slide, I want every girl to know that her voice can change the world. So even your voice can change the world. You should be having a very positive attitude towards everything. Next slide. You have done the registration and the pre-test. Kindly write the post-test after the session and the feedback. This is an online certification course. Certificate will be awarded to participant on course, attendance and submission of registration, pre-test, post-test and feedback. If you have any questions or if you have any comments, you can unmute yourself and ask, or you can write in the chat box. A sincere thank you to all those who helped to collaborate on this project. Team Dheera, Dr. Shantakumari Madam, Dr. Saroj Agarwal, Dr. Kiranmay, Dr. Shruti, Miss Gana, Dr. Jamuna Devi Madam, Dr. Vaishali Korde, Dr. Krishna Kumari, Dr. Alka Mukherjee, Dr. Basa Mukherjee, Dr. Archana Singh, Dr. Pratibha Singh, Dr. Aruna Suman, Dr. Surekha Taide, Dr. Rajal, Dr. Vidhaya, Dr. Shobha, and Dr. Reena Wani, and Sir Ajay Bharadwaj. And the contributors to material on the slides, Dr. Saroj Agarwal, Dr. Kiranmay Devi, Dr. Shruti, and other. Next slide. On behalf of all the students and we doctors, we sincerely thank you to all the artists. Next slide. Courageous together, say no to violence against women. Hashtag Dheera together. Let's tweet together. Build a voice. Our target is 1 lakh tweets. So add your courageous voice to the conversation. Hashtag Dheera together. Thank you very much. So the root cause of all violence against women is gender bias. So we have to have a gender equality today for sustainable tomorrow. We are doing this program to sensitize you and to know and understand that whenever you are there and when you are going to school and colleges, there are some things which you are not aware of. So we are making you aware of all these small things. These small things do exist in our environment. So you should be able to recognize it and take efforts before something happens. Don't wait for things to happen. You should be able to recognize. Your gut instinct will tell you that something is wrong. So you are supposed to take active steps to avoid those situations. Thank you.
I think most of the students like really do not know what is violence against women, what are the types, what is a bystander, how do we need to help. There is so much to protect women and all these things. I think even till we attended the course, we did not know so much was there regarding the violence against women. So I think this is definitely is useful to each and everybody, including the boys, girls, even the adult men, everybody. I think once everybody knows regarding all this, probably we can put an end to violence against women and gender. As Madam said, we need a gender neutral society. Like it is not like females are like really superior or males are superior, but we need a gender neutral society. So anybody from the school side to say something or comment, and then how this is useful for you all people.
Ma'am, our one of the teachers, Mrs. Sindhu, she wants to share a message through the medium. If you give us the permission, can she go ahead with her message to the students?
Yes, ma'am.
Sindhu ma'am, are you there?
Yes, ma'am. I'm there, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, actually, the program is really very nice. I hope majority of the students would have understood what you have conveyed. It's not to be taken in any wrong sense regarding why this is being taught for the students' levels. And I am really sorry for what the children had written on the screen also. So this is an information from principal to all the children. The one who has done that, it would be better that you yourself come forward to principal's room on Monday and apologize for what you have done. And if anybody else who has noted that name, who has been writing it on the screen, such kind of words, that student also can, you need not reveal your identity. You can secretly convey to your class teacher also, no problem. But I really apologize from the school part for what the children has written on the screen. And I request all the students to come forward and take this particular program in the real sense to understand for what it is being conducted for you all. And thank you, ma'am. We thank you all on behalf of the school management and staff and students. Thank you very much for the program.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I think you should pardon the boy who has done so. So
Yeah.
probably like the topic or didn't understand the sense for which it is being done. So I think
yes,
no harsh feelings from our side. So you need to apologize him. And then thank you so much.
Just not for any punishment, ma'am. Just for an apology only. Just to make the child understand not to behave in such a way in a general form. Thank you.
Shriman.
And on behalf of the management, staff and students, I would like to extend the fraternity of Dheera for gratitude for such an informative session, very much the need of the time. Our students will remember the meeting for its contemporary topic of WOW, violence against women and girls, and the efforts taken by the host team. We look forward for such an eye-opening session with the team of Dheera in the coming years too, ma'am. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Ma'am, in the chat box, the link for the post test will be given. So definitely all the students need to do their post test so that they'll be awarded with the certificate. And it is going to be a problem if they don't attempt the post test because they'll not be awarded with the certificate. Hearing all this like for the last 2 hours, now getting so much of the knowledge, I think they should be awarded with the certificate, madam.
Okay.
Yeah, take care so that they do the post test.
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you all. So,
thank you, teachers.
Signing off from our side, doctor side, and Dheera side.
Good day, ma'am. Shriman sir, where to find the link for the post test in the chat box?
Just I posted, madam. I'll share you the link through WhatsApp also.
Okay.
I'll share you now, ma'am.
Okay.